You look at the rest of the year, Florida State has 6 games. We're at the midway point. Probably has gone as poorly as possible through the first 6 games. You've got 6 games left. What are your realistic expectations for the rest of the year? And nothing's going to make you happy, but would a winning record down the stretch make you like somewhat, I mean, not a winning record overall. I don't really know that you could get to that unless Miami or Notre Dame really, really slipped up. But if you were able to get to 4-2, would you at least feel, if you got to 4-2 and you didn't get just absolutely mauled by Miami and Notre Dame, the season would still be a waste, right? At 5-7, even if you get to 6-6, it's a waste. You go 6-0 and you get to 7-5. I think the season's still a waste. Now you'll feel better about it coming out of it, but is 4-2 down the stretch, is a winning record down the stretch? That would mean a win over one of your rivals. I guess, or a loss to both of them and beating Notre Dame and everybody else. But would 4-2 down the stretch like kind of make you feel a little bit better? Like what would be your feelings after that?
It really depends how it looks. So Friday night, obviously we're at Duke, then we host Miami, then we host North Carolina, then we're
Miami on the road, but yeah.
Yep.
Well, I guess it's kind of hosting Miami when it's down there. Yeah. You were right.
We host North Carolina, then we're up in South Bend. Charleston Southern comes to town, and then Florida the week after that. So I'm just looking at this, trying to see. I don't know if I can see 4 wins. I think you could beat Duke, you could beat North Carolina, you could beat Charleston Southern, and you could beat Florida. So I think those are your 4 winnable games. I don't think you're beating Miami or Notre Dame, regardless of what happened. So, of those 4 winnable games, going 4-0 would be amazing, right? I just don't see that happening. So I think you're looking best case scenario, in my opinion, is 3-3. No, there's no result that could happen to end the season, to finish the season, even 6-0. That would not make me happy with the season because, again, we're coming off a 13-0 season where we should have been in the College Football Invitational, and we did not get invited. That's fine. It happened. I get it. The Orange Bowl happened, but we came here. They went to the portal because they thought we had a team or, the nucleus to get ready to make another run at the playoff, being a 12-team playoff. Even if you don't win the ACC, okay, go 10-2. You might sneak your way in. And you're not going to Charlotte. We were all joking, like, book your hotels in Charlotte because we're going back, guys. Yeah, that's clearly not happening. And I just don't see any optimism coming out of this season other than what happens the Sunday after the season. Who gets let go. And I'd never want anyone to lose their job. But when you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars and this is the product you're giving a fan base who you're asking them in this environment where we're paying so much more for groceries and gas and whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. And we're also given to boosters and the Battle's End and whatever it may be to watch a 1-5 football team, even if it's a 7-5 football team, which it will not be. No, this season is a failure of tremendous proportions, and I will only feel better when I see changes are made and that Mike Norvell is serious about turning things around. Like we talked about it last week, Brian Kelly, how he kind of made massive changes at Notre Dame and went from 4-8 to a really good football team again.
I'll get right back to the video with Richie, but first, if you work in online marketing or web development, we continue to tell you and stress to you that you need to check out our friends over at Rapid SEO Host. They are a top choice for professionals that are serious about results. They have over 15 years of experience, and the Rapid SEO Host team delivers lightning fast load times, marketing expertise, and personalized service to help you outpace the competition. As SEO specialists, in fact, it's right there in the name, they know how to boost your Google rankings and get your clients' websites in front of more people. Plus, when you join their affiliate program, you get paid to host your own websites. There's no expiration date on that. They also offer maintenance and marketing packages, giving you access to experts who can help you take your business to the next level. Make Rapid SEO Host your partner today. You can sign up at the link in the description. Okay, so I agree with you on the whole. Like, it won't make me feel better about the rest of the season. But if they were to go anywhere from 4-2 to 6-0, which I'm not projecting, if they were to do that, it would give me a little bit more confidence about like what next year could look like. Like if they were to, I mean, if they were to win the 4 games that are, we'll say winnable, which Florida in that, really, I think the only chance that you beat Florida is if Napier's still the coach. I know that's a weird or funny thing to say, but like that's probably your best shot to win, is that he just comes in and absolutely gives the game away like he does so often. That's, to me, that's your only shot in that one. But if they were to go 4-2 down the stretch and not get mauled by Notre Dame and Miami, right? Lose to Miami by 10, lose to Notre Dame by 14, something like that, I would feel like we're at least trending back upwards. Now, if they go 2-4 down the stretch, if they go 1-5 down the stretch or don't win it, then I'm going to, but at least it'll be kind of like 2021 where you went 5-7, but you at least went 5-3 down the stretch and you lost the 3 games you lost, you were an underdog in, and you really had no business winning anyway. I think it would give me those kind of vibes. Like the season itself is still a failure, but at least they pulled together and, I don't know, I don't really believe in momentum like at all, first of all, but second of all, like momentum from like November of 24 to August of 25. Like I don't believe in that kind of momentum, but it will show me that like, okay, Mike kind of got things trending back towards the right direction. I mean, if they were to make a bowl, I mean, I think that'd be huge for just buy-in on him personally. If they were to somehow get to 6-6, and then go win a bowl game at 7-5, because everybody would be playing in it. I think it would feel better, right, than finishing at 3-9, like we kind of maybe project. So looking at the rest of the schedule, this is ESPN's FPI. It's not a perfect metric. I think they're a little low on Duke here. You're at a 41.6% to beat Duke, 10% to beat Miami, 56 to beat Carolina, 5.5 to beat Notre Dame, 99 to beat Charleston Southern still, and 33 to beat Florida, which I don't know. Yeah, 1-3. I mean, to me, that's the Napier effect, right? Or the true freshman Lagway. I don't expect Mertz to play again. Yeah, you could theoretically win those 4. If you were to somehow win a 5th one and go 5-1 down the stretch, maybe you just lose at Notre Dame, maybe you just lose at Miami, I think you'd feel better than you would if you finished 3-9 for sure. But yeah, like the whole year itself is not saved. I do think, remember when we used to say like, well, as long as you beat your rivals, doesn't matter what else you do. If you somehow beat Miami and like ruined their year and then somehow beat Florida too, you'd feel a little bit better about that. At least you could get a couple trolls off, I guess, on social media. But yeah, there's really no saving the season. But I will say, like, if you could finish this year on an upswing, 3-3 is not enough for me. Like, you gotta find a way to have a winning record down the stretch, and a winning record down the stretch probably means you go 5-7. But if you can get a winning record down the stretch, or somehow get to a bowl, the season still is a massive failure. And I'm not even projecting that they could do this, but if you could somehow get to a bowl, I do think you'd feel better just about the program's direction in general. Maybe 6-6 makes hiring a little bit easier for Mike. I think he's going to have a hard time. People, it would have been hard for him to hire or fire guys or hire new staff after going 13-0. Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a lot harder to hire guys after going 2-10 or 3-9. Like the personal decisions that Mike would have had to make at 13-0, that'd have sucked to fire some guys, and that'd have been hard, but not nearly as hard as it's going to be to try and get a new. That's the other thing people say, like, oh man, just hire a new staff, just get a better staff, and we'll be fine. How do you hire a better staff, Richie, when you're 4-8? Best case. How do you hire a better staff when you're 2-10? So yeah, it might have been hard last year. I don't think it would have been harder than what it's going to be this year. So yeah, 6-6 maybe gets you a little bit better of a staff. 7-6 would certainly do it if you could get to a bowl and win that. You could hire a little bit better. So there would be some positives that come with it. Not nearly the positives that you should have had when we were all booking hotel rooms for Charlotte. I saw CJ say something like, well, let me go ahead and cancel that hotel room after BC or Memphis or whatever. But yeah, I do think it'd be somewhat better. You'd be a little bit pointed more in the right direction. But again, even that seems like a leap. I think what's most likely though? I mean, what is your most likely record? I think it's 3-9. I think you beat Carolina and I think you split with the Carolina schools and you beat Charleston Southern. Like what's your projection?
Yeah, I could see 4-8. I really could, because Florida State, by college football standards as a whole, they're not that bad of a team. They're average, below average. By Power 5 standards, they're really bad, right? But I don't think they're playing anyone like Miami and Notre Dame. Sure, let's put those games aside. The other 4 games, I think you could win 3 of them. I really do. You still have a talented team, and if Brock Glenn continues to develop and take those next steps, I could see 4-8. Which what a horrible thing to say as a Florida State fan. We might get to 4-8, TJ.